Some films break the universe's oldest contract, cause and effect. Actions don't lead to consequences. Time doesn't move forward. Meaning mutates. They communicate in the way dreams do. These 8 films are listed here not by quality, but by how completely they abandon the idea that cinema owes us coherence. Let's start with number 8. The Hourglass Sanatorium. Wojciech Has, 1973. The film opens on a derelict train, a young man traveling to visit his dying father in a sanatorium where time moves differently. But within minutes, the rules disintegrate. Spaces connect in ways that defy physical law. Conversations with the dead feel more solid than interactions with the living. It should have been a period piece, an adaptation of Bruno Schulz, shot in decaying Polish architecture with the visual precision of European art cinema, instead has constructed something that operates on its own temporal plane. Time doesn't move forward here. It folds back on itself. The dead walk through scenes as if their deaths were clerical errors. Memory becomes architecture you can touch, enter, exit without warning. Number 7. Upstream Color. Shane Carruth, 2013. Carruth had already made one famously difficult film. Primer was a time travel puzzle with internal logic, however obscure. This was different. This was deliberate fragmentation, a narrative presented in shards, with causality hidden or removed entirely. The audience experiences the same disorientation as the characters: memory loss, identity confusion, the sense that something fundamental has been taken. Sound design carries more information than dialogue. Images of parasites, pigs, and human bodies are connected through metaphor, not explanation. The film refuses to clarify what's happening or why. It opens with a woman infected by a mysterious organism. We never fully understand what it is or what it wants. The film ends unfinished. Questions remain unanswered. That's intentional. The film treats resolution as a lie. Number 6.
What the fuck are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What the fuck are you looking at? What are you looking at?
Reflections of Evil. Damon Packard, 2002. The opening feels like watching a VHS tape that's been recorded over multiple times. Images bleed into each other. Sound distorts. Time signatures shift without warning. Characters behave inconsistently because their behavior isn't governed by psychology. It's governed by dread. The result is a film that looks like a breakdown in progress. By the closing sequence, any pretense of narrative stability is abandoned. What remains is pure mental collapse, rendered in visual static and disintegrating celluloid. Number 5. The Wolf House. Joaquin Cosina and Cristobal Leon, 2018. The story begins like a fairy tale. A girl runs away. She finds shelter. But the shelter transforms constantly. Paint drips. Objects morph. The house becomes a character, or a prison, or both. The filmmakers shot inside a single room over the course of 5 years, painting and repainting the walls, building and destroying sets in continuous motion. The camera never cuts. What looks like editing is actually physical transformation. The effect is traumatic. By the end, the space doesn't just collapse. It physically disintegrates, taking the fairy tale structure with it. The Wolf House is a film where walls move, faces melt, and the space itself is alive. The laws of physics change from scene to scene. What appears solid in one shot is liquid in the next. Number 4.
He had to be stabbed 5 times. In the end, he ran screaming with a knife in his belly and splattered blood all over our house.
That bitch.
Singapore Sling, Nikos Nicolaitis, 1990. The film opens with the detective searching for a woman named Laura. He's wounded. He collapses near a villa. Inside, a mother and daughter engage in rituals that blend eroticism, violence, and absurd humor in ways that make categorization impossible. Nicolaitis shot in stark monochrome, using tight interiors and repetitive blocking. The same actions occur in different emotional registers. It begins as noir, then it turns suddenly. What was tender becomes brutal. What starts as genre becomes psychosis. By the end, even the concept of character dissolves. The detective, the women, their identities, all of it collapses into complete madness. Nicolaitis never explained the film. He described it once as an attempt to visualize psychosexual entropy. That's as close to an answer as it gets. Number 3.
Je vous répète que c'est impossible, je n'ai même jamais été à Frédériksbad.
Il insiste, elle s'insurge.
Je ne sais pas de quelle chambre vous parlez, je n'ai jamais été avec vous dans aucune chambre.
Ne voulez pas vous souvenir, parce que vous avez peur.
Last year at Marienbad,
Connaissez-vous pas
Alain Resnais,
cette photographie?
1961. Before Lynch, before Tarkovsky, before any filmmaker made reality dissolution a visual language, Resnais did this. A man approaches a woman at a Baroque hotel. He claims they met the previous year. She has no memory of it, or she's lying, or he is. The film never clarifies. Scenes repeat with variations, dialogue loops. The camera glides endlessly down ornate corridors, while a monotonous narrator repeats the same sentences in different configurations. The effect is hypnotic and deeply unsettling. The hotel becomes a labyrinth with no exit. Resnais worked with novelist Alain Resnais, who wrote the screenplay as a series of possibilities rather than a single narrative. They shot in real locations, chateaux in Munich and Paris, but treated them like mental constructs, mirrors, gardens, frozen guests. Everything feels like a memory of a memory. The ending offers no resolution. Resnais called it an experiment in time. What he created was a film that made time feel like a trap. Number 2.
Did you say something?
I said you're mean.
What do you mean, mean?
Well, you keep running after me. I find that rather tedious. What is
Black
it you
Moon,
want
Louis Malle,
exactly?
1975. Pure surrealism, just dream structure, presented as if it were narrative. A young woman escapes from a battle, gender-based perhaps, but the film never explains who's fighting or why. She arrives at a house occupied by an old woman, talking animals, and naked children. Events occur without causality. A unicorn speaks. Violence erupts without motive. Erotic imagery surfaces and vanishes. Malle shot in rural France using his own family property. He worked with minimal dialogue, allowing images to accumulate without explanation. The young actress, Catherine Harrison, was 16 during filming. Malle gave her almost no direction, encouraging confusion. The result is a film that feels like someone else's hallucination. Malle later admitted he didn't fully understand what he'd made. He described it as an attempt to bypass intellect entirely. It worked. What remains is a film that resists interpretation so completely that analysis itself feels like a category error. Number 1.
I have a secret.
Inland Empire, David Lynch, 2006. The film opens in Poland, a gramophone, dim light, disjointed voices. From the first minute, the message is clear. Logic will not apply here. Lynch shot on digital video over the course of 3 years with no complete script. Scenes were written days or hours before filming. Actors were given fragments, not arcs. Laura Dern plays a character, or multiple characters, whose identity shifts without warning. The same woman appears under different names in different locations, connected by no physical or temporal logic. Dialogue sometimes resembles stream of consciousness. Rooms open into other rooms that shouldn't exist. The timeline collapses entirely. Dern spent months in a state of sustained psychological disorientation, never knowing where her character ended or began. Lynch filmed in Los Angeles, Poland, and constructed studio spaces that existed only to be dismantled. The result is a film that feels less like watching cinema and more like being trapped inside someone's dream. It ends with dancing characters, random faces, unresolved fragments. The ending is not an answer, but a release. What these films offer is not a story, but a state of mind, the experience of watching meaning collapse in real time. They remain, waiting in the margins of cinema history, ready to disturb anyone willing to let them. Thank you for watching.